You're que lo que Knicks fans. I know. It's been a while. And man, stuff happens. It's just the daily grind of life. But we are back. Knicks fans wildin'. Episode 21. It's been a long time coming. We have a lot to catch up on, right? We got Julius Randle yelling at the crowd. That's so RJ game winner. That's so let's just go right into it. A lot to talk about. Me and Don Juan, we back. Got a lot of things brewing. And let's get right into it. Of course, I'm super dope to be chopping it up with my guy, Don Juan. Tell the people it's really good, man.
Hey, welcome back to us. New year, first episode of the year. Yeah, it's been a while. We're already towards the end of January, but it seems like we had a little, we had our own little COVID protocols ourselves through a little break, but we back. New year. We got, like you said, Triple M. We got some things brewing, and first episode right away, right back to work. We got our guest from Worldwide Knicks. Omar held it down today, man. It was a pleasure having him today. Of course, for our new listeners, welcome Knicks fans wilding. It's gonna be we're pretty much halfway through the season, so make sure that you're subscribing. You subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you're following us on IG and Twitter, just to keep up with what we're about to go through in the second half of the season, because it's about to be crazy. Trade deadline in a couple weeks. We're in the make or break part of the season, so make sure that you subscribe. And for those that've been with us, you know how it's been. A lot of pain through the season, but we sticking through it, and we're sticking together, which is what's important. Also, want to give a shout out to our guys out there and Off the Ball Network, always holding it down, always repping for us. Just like that, we return the favor, rep for them. Make sure to follow the network out there always, where there's always releasing some content, letting you know day to day news, from big news to any recent news. Make sure to follow Off the Ball Network on the social media platforms.
Yeah,
But hey,
man. Shout out to
Triple M, we back, baby. What's
Let's
good?
get it, boy, man. What's good, my brother? Yeah, man. Thanks. It's been a long time coming. You hit it right on the nail, man. We went through a little COVID protocol, holidays. We spent a lot of time away, but we back, man. We back, and we had Omar on the show. Worldwide Knicks talked a lot of stuff. He dropped a lot of good things, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. So, without further ado, here we go. Worldwide Knicks on Knicks Fans Wild. Here we go. As promised, we have Omar here from Worldwide Knicks joining Don Juan and Triple M here on Knicks Fans Wild. Super excited to have Omar on the show. Been following for a while. Omar, man, tell the people it's really good.
Hey man, well, I was just shocked you guys even wanted to have me on. To be honest, I was like, I got the DM from you, and I'm just like, oh, yeah, hell yeah, I'll do this podcast because I listen to you guys as well. So Nick, content creators got to support one another, all that stuff. But
Big
yeah, I'm
facts.
just happy to just talk about this team of ours, man, that causes us so much pain.
For real, man. But before we get started on that, man, I had to ask you guys a question. How did you, man, right here in the Midwest, right, Detroit, get with Alex, who I love Alex, man. He just has a love-hate relationship with the refs, this whole team. He's always just mad and upset, and then he's lovable. And Rafa's just like that. You just gotta love Rafa, man. If you haven't listened to the show, get into it, because Rafa, he's just a dope guy too, always bringing in that fire, man. Tell me, how did you guys just come together, just literally worldwide Knicks right here?
Yeah. So shout out to our guy Fraz. He doesn't really follow the Knicks anymore, but he got really into them last year, and he had followed me, and we had interacted a couple times. And he he tweeted something about wanting to do a group chat for Knicks fans based in the UK and Europe. And I hit him up. I was like, "Yo, I'm not in the UK or Europe, but let me get in on this group chat." And he's like, "Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll get you in." So we're all just going. It's like 20 or so dudes in this chat, and we're just going back and forth about the team. And then the season started, and Rafa comes up to me, messages me directly. He's like, hey, you, me, and Alex were, super knowledgeable in the group. Why don't we, do a Knicks podcast? And I'm like, oh, I even think about doing that. I've been watching the team for so long, but I was like, yeah, let's do it. So, we laid out a plan, format, and everything, and we started recording, doing once a week episodes. Yeah, it's been doing pretty good. We got 20 episodes in so far, so still, in its infancy. But yeah, man, it's fun just because it's almost like a therapy session, man. Like you have like a bad week as a fan, and you're just like, oh, I can't wait to chop this up with the boys on the podcast, And that's just basically what it's been for us all year. So it's been good.
Yeah, that's great, man. Shout out to Worldwide Knicks. Make sure to give them a follow and listen to the show. Last week they had Knicks fans Wild alum Ersan on the show. That was a very dope episode. Ersan, very knowledgeable.
Man, he was dropping jewels, man.
Like, yeah,
he's great. He's great.
We had him on, and a lot of times, you guys have guests on, right? And you're just like, you got to lead the guest,
Mm-hmm.
And Ersan, we hit him with one question. He's going for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I fucking loved it. He was just dropping gem after jewel after jewel. I was just like,
we were supposed to have him on this week as well, but he got caught up and stuff. But we'll have him in next week.
Yeah. It's tough, man. Those time zones because he's overseas.
He's in Turkey. He's in Holland, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, by Amsterdam, he said.
Yeah.
So, shout out to Ersan, dope guy. But that's great to hear, man. It's just. Like you stated, just we all Knicks fans at the end of the day, I don't even see it as really creating content. I'm just happy to just be talking with my friends, and just being able to interact with people. And obviously it is content at the end of the day, but it's great. It's great, man. And just thank you for joining us like we mentioned earlier, but
seriously,
let's talk about this team, this New York Knicks roster that we have now. We're coming at you after the Knicks lose to the Miami Heat in disaster fashion, after losing to Cleveland in heartbreak fashion. And, I mean, the biggest question of the hour, let's not even cut around it. Julius Randle, he went from most hated in 2019. I mean, people were willing to start Obi Toppin, a rookie, over him. No, not even. We didn't even have Obi. They were ready to kick him out the team after that 2019 roster with Fizz there. 2020 comes, and he becomes the man of the city, literally owns this city, most improved player, all NBA team. The city's in love with him. And here we are this year. Knicks fans ready to trade Randle for a bag of chips.
Yeah.
The question, Omar, I'm going to start with you, man. What do you do with Julius Randle, and what is going on with Julius Randle to you?
So here's my thing, okay? On our show, we have everybody has a hill, right, that they die on. Alex is on the Thibs hill. Anybody criticizes Thibs, he gives you pushback. Rafa's on the RJ hill, so if you criticize RJ, he's going to give you the smoke. I'm on the Randle hill, okay? Because, guys, you've been fans of this team for a long time. I know you were saying you guys are both season ticket holders, so you're in it, right? Do we forget how bad it was 4 or 5 years ago, after the end of Melo's tenure? I remember all this shit where we were winning 17 games in a season. So after last year, I was like, okay, Randle bought a lot of rope with me, but with that being said, there's something wrong with this man right now. I think we could all agree on that. There's just I don't know if pressure of being the dude in New York is getting to him, or if it's just a bad roster fit with you bringing in Kemba and Fournier or whatever. But I don't think you trade him, man, because I know a lot of people want that, but you don't sign a guy to a multi-year extension like that and then just trade him away. Everybody who talks about us being a disaster franchise, no culture, whatever. I mean, you trade Randle halfway through after extending him, well, then you're just proving them right, So I think if you're going to trade him, maybe in the offseason you do it, but I don't think you do it at the deadline. Just the optics are bad. And, me personally, I wanted to snap out of it. I bought into that whole shit, right? I bought into yes, new king of New York, whatever, so.
Omar on the Julius Randle hill, even after that disaster in Miami.
Look, man, he hasn't made me look good. Let me put it to you that way, because
I'll tell you
because
that.
don't get me
Sure.
wrong, like I love RJ. I think he's like the future of this team, obviously. But I don't know, man. Like last year was just so fun,
It
and so it
was,
bought
man.
so much cachet with me. I was like, and it was this guy doing it, Like RJ had a great year towards the second half of the year, obviously, but and you had good moments from Quickly and Bullock and all that, but it was a Julius Randle show last year,
Yeah.
and but I don't know, man. You can't keep on putting up 4 point games and not hustling on closeouts and all that.
Listen,
Eventually
Omar,
it's gonna
I've been
return.
like you, and I mean, I was a season ticket holder when the Knicks didn't have RJ. We won, I think, 21 games or 17 games that year. Where I would hit up my friends like, "Yo, you trying to go to the Knick game?" They'd be like, "Knick game, man? Nah, like I'm not going to the Knick game. Like, why would I want to go to the Knick game?" So Julius Randle definitely brought that fun back last year with his amazing season. But like you mentioned, it's hard to keep on defending this guy, man. It's just I really don't know what's going on. I don't know if there's some backstory that we're not listening, that we're not hearing, but just not being able to talk to the media.
That's a bad
Just
look in New
that's
York.
just
It's
a
a bad look.
terrible look here in New York, and it's just it's tough. It's tough, man. Because I've been a Randall stan this whole season because like it's only 50 games in. I was saying 40 games, 30 game, and I've been wanting him to snap out of it, but lately he's just looking like a mess of himself again. And I really don't know, man. I what to do with Julius Randle right now? It would be bad optics to trade him, definitely right now. After all the love we showed him last year, and everybody came out just showering Julius Randle with love. So
Yeah.
to trade him right now to Sacramento or wherever we'll ship him off to, it would be bad optics. But right now, it's like it's bad to watch. It is very hard to watch this team right now. With Julius Randle, first play of the game yesterday, has an open three, pump fakes, dribbles it between his leg, and takes a step back
Take a step
contested
back.
three. Like what is this? What are you doing? And this just all game. He looked checked out. PJ Tucker's a strong dude, but PJ Tucker, Julius Randle had nightmares of PJ Tucker last night. Tucker was just raining threes, pushing them out of his spots. It was just terrible, man. I really don't know, man.
Yeah, it's been really bad, and and it's wild because Omar is standing through and through. I'm surprised. I'm surprised you're still
Well, I'm
sticking with
surprised in
it.
myself. Like,
Yeah. But like for me, for instance, I wasn't. I was actually looking at Randall as an asset that we could probably trade. Well, last year I was looking at Randall like an asset that we could probably trade
You
for a late
mentioned that
first
a lot.
rounder, almost like a Mookie. Where we got a late first round pick. I didn't think we would get a first rounder for Mookie, even though he played well, but to warn a first rounder, look at him now. He's not even doing that much for the Clippers, I would say.
And he got
But
paid.
and got paid. So that was what was surprising in terms of the return we got there. But then for Randall, I'm like, oh, we getting for sure a first round pick on how Randall's performing. But we were winning games. We were winning games that we shouldn't. We got on that 9 game winning streak. It's like, okay, well, it seems like we're strapping our boots here and we're going for a run. So the Randall idea kind of grew on me. It still didn't mean that I was fully bought in. It's just we're making it to the playoffs. He's the guy leading our team. We can make it somewhere. Maybe not to the championship, but maybe a second round at least. We were facing the Hawks, and man, that was pretty much like the height of it. That high of oh man, we made the playoffs. We facing the Hawks, like it was too much. But now, what to do with Randall? Now, I mean, it's tough because he is the guy that we paid this off season,
mhm.
and like you guys both mentioned, it is bad optics. You trade him, ship him off to die, and hypothetically speaking, ship him off to
No,
die
it's dying
with
in
the
Sacramento,
Kings.
man. Let's be honest, right?
Like
No,
it
no one's
is
trying to
it
go
is
play for
bad
the Kings.
optics, but we also need to be realistic. Like it's almost like we kind of hit a crossroads, and I'm not sure if it's either with Randall or is with Tibbs, but it could be either one at this point. There's a lot of fingers. There's a lot of fingers you could point at. Maybe it's more of a combined thing. It's not just singling out just Randall. It could be either rotation minutes, maybe even holding these some of the players accountable and distinguishing roles that I don't think is gonna change if we fire Tibbs.
All right, Don. If Omar, he's not doing it because he just gave the answer. But if you had an option right now, yes or no, are you trading Julius Randle right now? Yes or no?
No, no, I'm not trading. Like I said, it's an optics thing, and you look at the way that you have this offense constructed, this team constructed. I really think they're trying to be like Boston in a way because they look at they're like, all right, we got these two our best two players are these two guys on the wing, in the sense. So Tatum and Brown would be like RJ and Julius to in their vision in the future, and so when you bring in somebody like Kemba Walker, well, that doesn't really fit with that. That you saw
Yeah.
what you saw literally what happened when that same player was with Boston.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't
Yeah.
work. Now, the when you ask if you trade Randall, if your answer is yes, then that means that you believe that Obi Toppin is ready.
Yep.
He's ready to play 35 plus minutes a game, give you
Exactly.
like 16 and 10, right? Because as bad as Randall's played, he's still giving you like 19 and 9 every night, and he's the team's leading assist guy. That's production you have to
And
bring.
requires double teams. Like Miami was loading
Yeah,
up on double
like
teams.
I think I saw a clip on Twitter from a game against the Hawks. He touches the ball, all five defenders look at him. They're not doing that for Obi Toppin. Let's be
No.
honest, right? So if you really think that Obi Toppin is ascending and is going to be that dude, then you trade him, right? But if he's not going to be that dude, if you think he's just going to be okay, well then you got to stick it out with your guy, unless you could get a better player. I know
Yeah.
there's that rumor about Donovan Mitchell that came out today. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
Man,
Yeah,
listen,
man.
I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But
You're
yeah, I
not
didn't see
trading.
that,
You're
but
not
that would be
trading
intriguing.
Julius Randle for Donovan Mitchell. You
right,
just
right,
gotta
yeah, no,
trade up the farm.
I'm not that delusional. I'm just
You
saying.
you literally trading
Yeah.
the farm for that. But I don't know. But
But
Don
yeah,
Juan, are you trading Julius Randle?
I would, and
Oof.
I would, and
Ready for the Obi Toppin?
there's optics, and it's not so much of the OB. Obviously, it also depends on what we're getting in return. But I just think that we play a certain style with Randall that we're kind of just limiting everybody else's production or ceiling. I see there's so many plays that we go to Randall that just don't work. Maybe because we don't have an actual point guard that can actually set them up right.
Exactly.
But I think that with Randall, there's no fast pace. It's always let me bring it down, take my time, maybe a couple pick and rolls, and then you're 5 8 seconds left, and now we're forcing a shot, and it's a bad shot at that contested. And I'm not really a fan of that. Where I think that if we get a point guard, obviously it's gonna help. But let's say if we trade Randall for De'Aaron Fox is gonna pick up the pace, and as we've seen, RJ works great in space in pace, and Obi, everybody, Grimes, like all these guys are more centered, are more prepared for the modern day basketball where we're not playing that or modern style offense where we're not playing that with Randall. And on top of that, Randall's trying to do that, but he doesn't have the capabilities to do it. As much as he went 41% from 3 point last year. I'm not completely sold that that's his game. It's
No,
good
he's
that
It's
he
still
not.
could
at the
he could
cliff.
shoot the three, but it would help if he's shooting it at efficiently, maybe not forcing it, step back threes or contested threes, like enough of that. But I do think that the way the players that are surrounding him, it benefits them to play a more faster paced offense, and it's not going to happen with a guy like Randall.
Yeah, I mean, this just leads to the segue of the next question. With Julius Randle, it's like what to do with Tibbs? I mean, people calling for this man's job a year removed from winning Coach of the Year, which is crazy. But I mean, his rotations are atrocious. I mean, yesterday the Knicks couldn't buy a bucket. First person off the bench, Alec Burks, who hasn't bought a bucket all month.
Yeah,
Next
he's been
up,
terrible.
Taj Gibson. You're bringing Taj Gibson into the game right now when the Knicks have 10 points with 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Tom Thibodeau from the Atlanta Hawks series, even last year with the Alfred Payton thing, he just shows to be stubborn with his rotations, doesn't like really moving things around, doesn't like really shaking things up in the flow of the game. So I'm gonna start with you, Omar. What do you think about Tibbs? Are you really ready to give up on Tibbs as well?
I, so conceptually, I don't want to give up on Tibbs. And what I mean by that is if you're continuously firing coaches after a year and a half,
Seriously.
then that's just your organization's trash at that point. You
Yeah.
know, because you're just rushing it and you're not letting them institute whatever they're going to institute. And this dude, like you said, just won Coach of the Year, just got you the playoffs for the first time in years, and you're just going to go ahead and can him because he's 3 games under 500, right? That's my problem with it. Now, to your point about rotations, it's really a problem because I think we all know Tibbs' like big problem is he has his guys, Even last year, look how long he stuck with Elf. And everybody knew Elf was garbage by at least like 30 games in, and
Yeah.
he didn't take him out until you absolutely had to in the playoffs. And
Worst time.
and then at that point, it was too late because Rose wasn't used to playing with that starting unit like that, and then the IQ was all jumbled up or whatever. So yeah, he needs to. You gotta look at Burks, and he doesn't have it right now. You just acquired Cam Reddish, and you're using him in garbage time. Like that's bad. Like, and I don't know. Like when he got in his first game for like 5 minutes, I was like, oh, this dude has a little something because I haven't watched a lot of Atlanta games over the past couple of years. I don't think you guys have either. But I was like, oh, this dude's nice. I think he could be something. And to be so rigid and just stick with Alec Burks, and I think he's ruining Alec Burks by like forcing him to be a point guard, right?
He's run to the ground. Burks is looking like he ran to the ground.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I think I'm not on some fire Tibbs thing, but I mean, how bad do you think they would have to be for them to fire him at the end of the year?
I mean, I just do not see Tom Thibodeau getting fired as much as the fans. We fans, we're going to be screaming and hollering to fire Tibbs. I just do not see any way after giving this man a 5-year deal, you're going to fire the guy. After he won Coach of the Year. I mean, the Knicks could literally probably lose every game, man. I just don't think they would fire Tibbs.
Well, you know what the headline's going to be if they do that, though, right?
Same old
Dolan, same old Knicks.
Yep.
I mean, how many coaches are on the Knicks' salary right now? I know Fizdale's still on the hook. Is Fisher gone? Is Fisher? How many years they gave Fisher?
Still getting paid, man.
So and now you're gonna have Thibodeau for 3 more years after this to get I just do not see it. I mean, I know money doesn't matter for Dolan, but Tibbs is also very connected to Leon Rose. I mean, Thibodeau would legit have to lose every game for him to get fired. Like, there's no way that Leon Rose is firing Tibbs if he wins what he's on pace to win now, which is 37, 38 games, which is still by far more than any Knicks team has won in a while. You started off the show, Omar, by talking about games. Yeah, they won 17, 21, 20, 33 games. Like, the Knicks have been a terrible organization for a lot of years. So if Tibbs comes and wins 41 games last year on a 72 game, on an 82 wins 37, he's keeping his job.
Yeah, I mean, with 37, I feel like it's still it's because at that point it's almost split the blame. If we go like 20 games, you really have to put the blame on the coach. But I'm still not. I'm definitely more into liking the idea of trading Randle than firing Tibbs. As much as he's part of the problem with these rotations, not really unlocking the team. I mean, we've seen Grimes play so many great minutes, and he's still not really on the rotation. Like, yeah, he's been last few games, he's been getting a lot more burn, 26, 31. Like, he's definitely getting burned, but it's because you have to at that point. He's been playing so good, and he just vibes with everybody else. He knows his role. I think that's somebody that out of everybody on the team, he knows his role.
He's a prototype, man. He's what you want in that position in the modern NBA. A guy who could shoot, a guy who could defend. If he gets his handle a little bit better,
anybody,
be perfect.
I mean, you saw what he did with Darius Garland. I mean, you're talking about Darius Garland, an all-star this season. He was locked up in the fourth quarter. Locked up. But is it time to put Grimes in the starting lineup? We need a starting 5 shakeup. I mean, there's just so many numbers right now that are showing the New York Knicks starting lineup is atrocious. Yesterday, we saw it. I mean, the Knicks were down huge after the first. Bench comes in, brings the close respectable. Third quarter starts and the Knicks get blown out the building, and it's just too late after that. So it's a starting five shakeup right now. Omar, what are you doing with this starting five? Who are you taking out? Who are you putting in? What is a shakeup? A starting five shakeup. I need to give you. You need to give me a starting five shakeup right now for this team.
I think you got to put Grimes in the starting lineup. I'm sorry. I think Fournier right now is better served coming off the bench. I'm
So
not
you
saying
still
like
playing Fournier. You benching him, but you still bringing him.
yeah, because if you think about it, he'll be going up against second units that he could exploit a little bit, and he'll be
Mhm.
like that primary leading scorer for the bench unit. So I think, and I know a lot. The topic of IQ, the point guard, is kind of weird, right? A lot of people are really weird about that. See what you got in the dude. Put him in the starting lineup too. I mean,
Yeah.
like put in Grimes and IQ, and then RJ Julius and Mitch slash Noel slash Taj, whoever the healthy center happens to be at that point in time.
Mitch and
And
Noel, they're not allowed to be healthy the same game.
yeah,
He's
it's
been
not
playing
allowed.
every other game.
It's not allowed.
It's
But
just
the way I see it is like we're watching RJ grow right now, right
Mhm.
before our eyes. We're watching him take the leap. And I said at the beginning of the year, he's going to take a leap. And nobody believed me. And it's just like, I tell people that, they'd be like, no, he's not going to, blah, blah, blah. But he's taken the leap these past 12, 13 games. And if you're going to be creating with him and creating with Randle until you happen to trade him or whatever you're going to do with Randle, then you need a point guard who could do something on some catch and shoot, which IQ can. And so I think putting him in the lineup makes sense. You have Grimes there with defensively with RJ is a positive. So I think that makes sense, and I do think if you do that though, Kemba's out of here. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
that's just. I mean, I think deadline's coming up. I think the one guy who's guaranteed to be gone is probably Kemba, personally.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
see that.
this is just this. This is exactly what I would do as well. I would definitely put IQ in grounds because, as crazy as it might sound, let's say we do keep Julius Randle, which is probably the most likely scenario. As much as fans want to trade him, the most likely scenario is he's staying. But as crazy as it might sound, it seems like he misses Reggie Bullock and kind of that dribble off. He used to just love looking for Reggie Bullock on that
Mhm.
dribble off. And Fournier is
He,
just not doing that. He's
he
like
tries to
slow.
do it with him. It looks
Yeah,
weird
Doesn't
though.
work.
it's weird. It like Fournier is like slow. He's just not moving. He prefers to catch and shoot Fournier, where Bullock would just cut real quick, catch it and shoot it. You know what I'm saying?
Shoot,
He
shoot
would be,
off balance and all that.
which Grimes can do as well. I mean, Grimes can do that. He really loves shooting that basketball, and he shoots it well. So if you put Grimes in that lineup, this let's not even mention the defense. Him and RJ will be great defensively. Like, that's a great defensive tandem on the wing right there.
For real.
But just helping Julius out, maybe with Grimes just being able to catch, shoot, cut, and Kemba, man. I'm from the Bronx. I love Kemba. I'm from
That's
Uptown,
my
man.
guy. I love Kemba too. I
So
was happy when we got
the
him.
project needs to the plug needs to be taken
More
out. I
about
mean,
that.
the
Yeah.
Kemba project, it was fun while it lasted. The New York, and how crazy has Kemba's tenure been here? It's just gonna be that's a topic for another day. But I mean, we just got to put IQ in the starting lineup. He gives us that different energy, man. Every time
For sure.
IQ comes in the game, it's just energy, him moving around, and he's played great point guard.
And
Yeah.
he
Um,
can be a defensive upgrade as well, which is a lot of people are discounting how good and better defensively he's
yeah,
been this year over last year. Last
yeah,
year,
he
it was the floaters, it was the deep pull up threes, but this year now he's added defense to it. He's become a really good playmaker. The turnovers are still kind of shaky, and some of the shot
he's a
selection's not
young
great.
player.
Some of the shot
He's young
selections for
too. He
sure.
is 23.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
like you both seem to be on the same page. I like those upgrades obviously because I like the shakeup because it is a clear upgrade over the guys that are starting right now. The only thing is that would worry me is just maybe the lack of depth on the bench. You know, we don't have Derrick Rose, so till then we don't have a backup point guard. I was in the same friends as you, Omar, where I mean, shit, Mario too. I mean, I had brought up before, like, I don't want Kemba playing. I was been maybe 10 games into the season, I was already calling pull the plug on that because at the same
Okay,
time,
tips. I
it's
like.
just you could see that it wasn't a good. It was more like it was more of a liability than an asset. You know, he might have scored 10 points. We were giving him 20, or whoever he was playing was scoring 20. So you had to pick and choose. Like, but I would like to see IQ and Obi, but I mean not Obi, Grimes. But my worry is more the bench and then the relationship that IQ has with Obi. For some reason, they vibe together. It's such a nice 1-2 punch when they both come off the bench.
But
I don't
Don,
know.
before you finish, Obi's playing 12 minutes a game. All right. So it's not like you're killing the kid. He's not playing that much. So it's like you're really, it might hurt him, yes, but it's like he's not playing that much. But you could continue. Continue.
He's not playing that much, but when he does play is with IQ, and you've seen in the limited minutes that Obi is playing, he's producing. His plus minus has to be insane, probably all-star numbers if you really want to put those stats up. But I don't want to touch it, but at the same time, we're running out of options here. We're running out of games. We need to start competing at the same time. You know, this team has expectations. I'm pretty sure the players have expectations. And it's frustrating to see somebody that's not producing starting over you. Where I think that if those guys those guys come up to the starting lineup, they're actually going to produce. Just like Tibbs says, Tibbs is saying, yeah, those guys that are producing are playing minutes. He's kind of contradicting themselves by doing that and not playing these guys. So that's even demoralizing for the players mentally to even want to perform the next day because they're not even going to get credit for it.
So what's your starting five shaker, bro?
Starting
Who you
five
inserting
shaker.
and who you picking up?
I mean, I like those guys that I like the same way. You know, you guys had a valid points with starting Grimes and IQ, but I might consider starting Obi and kind of let Randle be the sixth man
Oh my
and
god.
play a little small ball. First man off the bench will be Randle.
Don Juan with a bombshell. He is benching Julius Randle, who the Knicks just paid 30 million. But hey, I
30
mean,
mil,
you
20,
need
it's
it.
not
So
30,
you
it's
keeping
25,
Kemba.
25.
So you keeping Kemba Fournier, Randall, Obi, and Mitch. That's your shaker. That's
Well,
what you.
no, wait. No. IQ,
Oh, okay.
Grimes, and
Okay.
Obi.
All right. Nice.
So
All
what
right.
we did was
But
just swap out Obi for Julius. I
for
got you.
Julius. But the thing is
Okay.
that there's
That's
also a
oof.
trade coming up too. So Kemba probably not gonna be an option. Fournier might not be an option. Cam is gonna get some minutes. So
Yeah. Okay.
something's gonna unlock. But man, I'm tired of seeing Randall, man.
So
I've
where are you? Speaking of Cam, where are you guys at on Cam? Like,
Well,
I'm always curious for that.
for Cam Reddish, I'm a little bit biased because I have him on my fantasy team. So I
I get
seen I've had him all year, so I seen Cam, especially when everybody for the Hawks went down with COVID. Trey was out, John Collins is out. I mean, this guy had a couple huge games, you know.
it.
But I'm not going crazy like a lot of fans are. These first 2-3 games, he hasn't played. Like, oh, why is he not playing? I mean, I know the Knicks have a year and a half to evaluate him. You know, I know they're gonna get a long look at him on practices and shoot around. It's this team Tibbs especially. He's big on details, you know. And you saw yesterday he played well, but he just like a little laid back. Like he just reminds me of that guy that comes into the open gym, you know, with the high socks and the flip flops, and it's like, damn, this guy is good, but he's just so smooth with it. I mean, that's his game, you know, that's his game. So I think where I'm at with Cam, I'm not like a lot of fans would like give him minutes. I want to see Cam Reddish play, obviously, but I want to see him develop as well. I want the Knicks to really develop this guy, get him some practices, learn the plays. Cause I saw the game again. I don't know why I'm a crazy fan. I saw the Miami game again, and you could see Coach Thibs was pointing out things to him at the end. Not at the end, like during when they had the ball on the side out. He would tell him, "Stand there. You're at the wrong place." You know, and people would point at him like, "Stand here." He doesn't know yet. You know, he's been here what a
Still
week.
learning. Yeah.
He's
Maybe a
still
week.
learning, so it's a lot to learn, especially with this Knicks team. So many people. So I definitely want to see Cam, but I want to see Cam when he's ready. You know, and I know the Knicks have a year and a half with him. There's no rush. There is absolutely no rush. But we gave up a protected first round pick, but we've been hoarding assets. You know, we've been hoarding assets. Time to give up these assets for players now. You know, we're in talent acquisition mode, definitely. We just got to gobble up this talent. We got to pick up talent And Cam's upside is crazy. I mean, people were saying he would be better than RJ and Zion at
Yep.
one point. So definitely want to see Cam, but I'm patient. I'm definitely patient. What about you, Omar?
So Cam, I was super excited when I heard about the trade because I was like, okay, you're giving up the Charlotte first. It's not even your own first. So even if the season goes sideways and you end up in the lottery, you still have a lottery pick.
Yep.
Uh, and you gave up Kevin Knox, who you weren't going to be extending this offseason anyway. So you basically got him for free, if we're being honest. So I was just like, all right. I remember him and Duke. I remember the hype about him saying that his ceiling is super high. It just hasn't worked out in Atlanta. And I don't know. It's like I'm intrigued by him. In the very small sample size we've seen of him, you could see he has some talent there. He could do some things, but like you said, he still hasn't picked up on the defensive rotations. He still doesn't really have a full command of what they're trying to do on both ends of the floor. So, but yeah, it's a wait and see thing. I think if you'll see more of him after the deadline, after they make whatever moves they're going to make. Yeah, I think that's probably a contributing factor to them not even giving him that much burn right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
that's actually part of the reason why I think that he hasn't been playing. They're almost like it's almost like a showcase for these other guys that could be dealt in a sense. But I'm with you guys too. I mean, I'm patient. I'm wait. I know that this wasn't a home run. You know, this is a Derrick Rose trade that's gonna get us on a roll.
Maybe, maybe.
It can if
Yeah, you
he's
never
getting
know.
minutes, but at the same time, there's still, like you said, Tibbs is into the details. This guy just walked in. He just walked on the team right now, where a guy like Grimes is over here still trying to get on the court, get in the rotation. McBride, who's been killing the G League, still has his ways to go to even hit the rotation. So I don't think Cameron's just gonna come over here and skip the line. I feel like Tibbs is more that old school mentality sometimes, but he's definitely still that's still his thing. And it's funny because after the Knicks made that trade, somehow he wants to mention, yeah, well, I'm actually cutting the rotation from 10 to 9 now. So it's like, oh, so now it's almost now he's really not gonna get any minutes. But I think the fact that you
Yeah,
guys
Tibbs
mentioned
is
how
funny.
the value that the Hornets pick is probably gonna be in the mid 20s, either early 20s or 19 around there with a Knox that was I felt like Knox was the sweetener. Like here's somebody that you could buy low and high low
They
risk high
wanted
reward.
Grimes. They wanted Queen Grimes.
And thank God, we
Yeah.
got some, we put the foot down and got that deal. But we got some value at the end of the day. Reddish, he was highly recruited to one of the best high school players, one of the best college players. Like that pedigree is still there. Maybe hasn't unlocked. The Hawks were a pretty jam packed team. There's a lot of guys in the position. They got a bunch of wings, and he's dealt with injuries too. Hopefully he could overcome those knickknacks and could stay healthy. But it's a wait and see approach. I do think we
So,
got value, like I said. He's gonna determine his own contract as well, and I think it's worth the gamble because at the same time, like we already got pretty much the core value of like the core young guys that are gonna stick with us. And Reddish is just let's see if we could latch on another young guy that could potentially, carve out a nice role or maybe even a starter one of these days. But it seems like he's gonna have to beat out Grimes because he's been looking real good.
yeah, I mean, hopefully it doesn't come down to it because I want to see both of them, So we got to see, which leads up to the next topic. What are we going to do at the trade deadline, fellas? There's 2 weeks to the trade deadline.
Exactly 2 weeks
Exactly
away.
2 weeks. There's a lot of names in the rumor mill. Jalen Brunson, De'Aaron Fox, Miles Turner. I think Knicks fans are just dreaming of DeJounte Murray. I don't think
Oh
that's a
man, that would be
realistic.
nice.
Halliburton too. Jeremiah Grant. I could go on and on. There's a lot of names out there, but the Knicks are 23 and 26 right now. They're right in the middle. So what are they doing? We talked about it 2 years ago. They traded Marcus Morris for a first round pick.
We're
They were
sellers now
sellers
too.
that deadline. And then last year, basically buyers with the Derrick Rose trade. That wasn't a deadline deal, but it was close to the deadline, which kind of shook up our season. And now this year, they made a move with Cam Reddish, which doesn't give us a direction at all. It doesn't really say buyers or sellers. Omar mentioned it. We basically got him for free. Didn't give up much except the first round pick. But this year, it's like the team can go either way. We could talk about trading Randle. We talked about that earlier. We talked about Fournier getting traded. I mean, what are the Knicks going to do? I'm going to start with you, Omar. What are the Knicks doing? Are they
Look,
buyers or
first
sellers?
of all, you mentioned Jalen Brunson. Bring this man to New York, okay? Like, I'm all
Beautiful.
aboard the Jalen Brunson train. Like, yeah, I remember watching him at Villanova, just killing the Big East. And well, not that that's saying much, but whatever. Not these days anymore, right? But he's just like everything that Knick fans say they want in a point guard, this guy does. Just hard nosed dude comes and gives you everything he has every single night,
Mhm.
and he can shoot a little bit, got good playmaking ability. But to answer your question, I think they are going to be a little bit of sellers
Mm,
because I think I could see them, trying to just move on from Kemba. I could see Alec Burks getting dealt for something, and even Fournier as well. Of course, Fournier is tough because of the contract, right? But who's going to really want to pay him for the next couple of years? But yeah, I mean, I could see it. And I don't know if you guys saw that report. I think it was from. I consider the source. I think it was from Brian Windhorst, and he was saying that
yeah.
basically they're looking to move some of their older players to get younger and play their young players a little bit more.
Okay.
So it leads me to believe that they're going to be sellers. I don't think anybody's trading for Julius right now because his stock has never been lower. If we're being honest, right? Like if you traded him this past offseason, like a sign and trade or something, you would have got something for him because they're like, oh, he's an all-star, most improved player. Now he's like, oh, this guy's just thumbs down the crowd at MSG, and
Hard to come
why
back.
would I want him, right? So, but yeah, I
Yeah.
think they'll sell off some of their veteran pieces if they could. And all the reports are that they're going to be going after Brunson hard because the Mavs can't afford him in the offseason, so they might as well get something for him because they're paying Hardaway and Luca's contract's coming out. They're paying
KP.
Porzingis. Yeah, and they're just
Is
paying
he
all
an
these.
unrestricted free agent?
What's
Who?
that?
Brunson?
Brunson.
Nah,
He's about to
he's
be unrestricted,
unrestricted.
I think, this year.
So he's
I
unrestricted.
think he might be unrestricted because he was undrafted pick.
Okay.
Right.
He was
Okay,
Yeah.
so
undrafted.
they
So
could just get him this year without giving up assets if they want. If they wait for the
yeah,
summer.
yeah. If you think you're going to sign him in the offseason, sure.
Yeah, if you,
But if you
that's
want to
the
get him
risk right
now,
there.
Yeah,
yeah.
man. I mean, let me tell you something before I go to you, Don Juan. It's January 27th, 2022. I am starting a Bradley Beal agenda, man. I don't
Oh
know
man.
what is he gonna happen. Wizards fans is killing him. I want Bradley Beal. I mean, I put it on Twitter yesterday. Fans were killing me like this guy doesn't do anything. He doesn't move. He doesn't do. But listen, man, give me this 30 points per game score with 5 assists on this team. He's an unrestricted free agent. He's gonna cost a lot of money, but we'll make room for him. We'll trade Fournier if we have to. We'll trade Burks. We'll trade Noel, and we'll make room for it. So here we are, starting it early, people, fellas. You are the first people to hear it on the show. I'm starting the Bradley Beal agenda. So when you see it, just shake your head if you agree, and shake your head no if you don't agree. Don Juan, before we go to you, man, what are the Knicks gonna do? Buyers or sellers this trade deadline?
Buyers or sellers? I mean, it would be considered selling,
Oh,
but
both
I
of you
think
guys going.
but I think it'll be looked at more as retooling. There has to be somewhat of a 2-for-1 deal because we have, like I said, we have too much depth at the wing position, and we have to eliminate pretty much the problem as we've seen here. It's probably going to be a 4-year Kemba deal with a first round pick just to kind of get rid of them in a sense. That's what it's gonna look like. But I
Damn.
do think there has to be some type of move, especially because we got Cam. The Cam move obviously for the future, but how are we gonna see Cam at all this season if we don't trade one of those guards? And I know injuries happen and there's always COVID to worry about. But it seems like we're overcoming this COVID thing. And injuries, you can't live by thinking like someone's bound to get hurt. Someone's bound to get
Yeah.
hurt. D Rose is coming in
Only
2 weeks.
Noel.
That what?
I said we can only live with Noel. We know he's gonna get him.
And that's the thing. Like Noel might be the one that doesn't get traded out of all because he might not even be healthy. But but yeah, I do think we'll be sellers, and that's the thing. Like I'm considering selling because we're just condensing the roster. That's about it. But it's still
Okay.
retooling. Like we're not sellers to tank. We're just sellers to kind of open some space, open some room.
Yeah, all right, man. I mean, I'm gonna take a different
Well,
road from you guys. I think we're gonna be buyers for sure because every trade that we've seen from Leon Rowe up to this part has been trying to add. You know, he doesn't. He let go of Kevin Knox, who wasn't playing. He let go of Dennis Smith Jr., who was not playing. You know, it's just always trying to add. So I think it's hard right now. It's hard, especially after that Miami game. I mean, this is a terrible, terrible day to speak about the Knicks because it's just all based on emotion right now because it was just a bad game that we saw. But I just think that the Knicks are going to find a way to add to this roster. I mean, we talk about this being basically year two of the rebuild. Year one was amazing, 41 wins. You did not expect that, and that kind of just got all the Knicks fans happy. You know, they kind of it's like you going to dinner, right? And you got this great appetizer, you know, and then they come with this beautiful bottle of wine for year two, and they like, here, put it on the table, and you like, this is so good. And then you come get your entree for year three, and it's cold and it's nasty. So I just think the Knicks are gonna keep building. They're gonna try to find a way to be buyers.
So who are they buying? I guess is my question.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Like you
you guys,
mentioned Neil, okay, right, understood. But who else is out there?
let's see.
Would
Miles
you?
Turner. I mean, his
Okay.
foot is an issue now. You know, maybe you could get him for the low. I mean, maybe you could sneak in. We got 10 second round picks the next few years. We got a
Right.
million of those that we could give away. You know, and you can. What are we doing with Mitch? I mean, we can talk for a long time. I mean, if we're gonna extend Mitch, all right, then he's a keeper. But if you're just gonna let him walk this offseason, I mean, he's an asset that you can trade to somebody, you know,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
a team like Indiana. Let them see if they want to pay him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, me personally, right now, the way Mitch been playing, I would want to keep him. But I mean, he is a real center that's not really shooting. He put the ball on the floor the other day and it caught everybody by surprise. You know,
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
was
Seriously.
cheering like like he did something amazing.
Right.
So we thought we would see some more expansion in his game. I mean, he has not shown
He
anything.
hasn't.
So
So centers like Mitch, well, it's like in football, it's like the running back in football, right? Where it's like you
That's
could
a
get
lot.
another
That's
guy.
a good
You know,
comparison.
like you could get
That's a
another
good
rim running
comparison.
center.
Yeah.
You just drafted one at the end of the second round in Jericho Sims.
And
mhm,
And
he's
like
not
I'm
bad.
not saying Jericho is Mitch, but
he could be
like
molded.
it's the like in a couple years they'll probably be the same player. I mean,
Hmm.
realistically, because there is no diversity in the game. It's just block shots, get rebounds, finish the alley oop, right?
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
why are you extending that guy? I guess unless he's Clint Capella, like that's like the ceiling of that archetype, right? Is
Yeah.
your Clint Capella, and
And
so
and even that though is tough because those guys are tough to mesh with when you have a power forward that isn't really a deep threat. Where you know that Miles Turner, you mentioned Miles Turner, that's someone that I would go to because he probably fits Randall. He probably helps Randall even more, where he got somebody that's not going to be in the paint. I think part of the reason why Randall might not be in the paint, living and feasting off in the paint, is because he got Mitch right there. His man is always going to help because Mitch can't expand the floor. He's at the 3-point line. They're not guarding him out there.
It's a good
You know,
point.
so that double team is always going to be there easy on Randall. So if
I
you got
mean,
somebody like
Ben,
Miles Turner, that even if he's not shooting great, he's still going to put a fear on the other team because he can shoot. I mean, against the Knicks, but everybody be hitting threes against the Knicks. But against the Knicks, the he had what like five? Was it five or seven
seven
threes?
threes,
Seven
seven.
threes. Like
and threes.
that showed us enough. I mean, I felt like that was almost like a showcase for him because he showed me that that's somebody that the Knicks could use. He is a little pricey, but at the same time, he's almost like he falls under that unicorn type of player where he's gonna give you threes, he could block shots, he could switch on any defender. Where those are a lot of the things that Mitch is you does the same, but he can't shoot threes.
Yeah, I mean, Bam was just disrespecting Mitch yesterday. I mean, he was just playing away from him. He was just helping out.
I seen Bam
I
on
don't remember
everybody.
if you remember the play where he just came behind. I think they tried to lob it to RJ or Randall in the post, and he just came from the back and just stole it because he just did not care about Mitchell Robinson. I mean,
Yeah.
he knew Mitchell Robinson was just he's limited offensively, and you brought up a great point about Randall not feasting in the paint. I mean, clearly he cannot shoot this year. I don't know if he doesn't want to pay up Earl Monroe Foundation or what the
Mhm.
point. I don't know what it is. but he just not shooting the three well at all this year. So I mean, yeah. So when I say buyers, I mean maybe we could steal Miles Turner for the low, or we just don't even know the names that are out there. You know, it's always a.
I
I
mean, the Kings'
remember
whole roster is available,
the
so
King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
apparently.
If we could get Fox and Bagley, you know.
I mean, look at last year with the Bulls. I mean, they gave up a nice penny with that first round pick that ended up being high. But I mean, Vooch was just a name that nobody even knew he was out there, and they
Yeah.
traded for him. And now look, they're the number one seed in the East this year. I mean, they're meshing pretty well despite all the other things, but they had a great offseason. So let's see, man. 2 weeks away, bro. I cannot wait to this trade
Yeah,
deadline.
and it's
But
wild too with the Knicks, man. We haven't heard any news. It's like they even that Cam Reddish news. You know, a lot
They're
of people
quiet, man.
were
It's just went off
targeting
and been
him
quiet.
because of just being fans. I want to see RJ with Zion and Cam once again. But that was such a surprise. I didn't expect we were gonna go after that guy. So maybe there's a deal that we don't even know that could happen tomorrow. And we're like, oh
on
man, how we end
road.
up here?
Leon Rose, man, that man's the man. Let me tell you the 7 games until the deadline, though. At Milwaukee, home with Sacramento,
Oh
home
man,
against Memphis. Then we go out west, and it's gonna be a gauntlet out there. At Los Angeles, at Utah, at Denver, and at Golden State. I mean, the Knicks can realistically go 1-6, maybe. You know, I'm thinking the
yeah.
Kings game might be a win, but the game is at home. We don't play well at home, so that might be allowed. So it's gonna be tough. I mean, so if the Knicks lose, if they go 1-6 and they're sitting there 33-25, I mean that might just change the whole dynamic of everything, man. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
Definitely
this
gonna
road trip is definitely scary.
I mean, most difficult schedule remaining in the league, so
oh,
it doesn't get any easier even after the deadline. That's
oh,
the crazy thing.
this is gonna be crazy, man. But wow, Omar, bro, I had so much fun on this episode. Pretty great episode. I mean, man, one of my favorites so far. I ain't even
Oh, I
gonna lie.
appreciate
I
that.
thank you for joining. Definitely got to come back soon. Definitely got to come back
Hey,
soon because
anytime, man. Anytime you
Yeah,
guys
we
want
have
to
for
fill in a
real.
spot, I'm here.
Get the whole gang in here, you know, have a good
Hey, why
time.
not?
Get them.
Why not? We'll bring him
yeah,
in.
we gotta find out a time where Alex and Rafa are free, to get up on here and talk Knicks, man, especially, bro. But before we get up out of here, man, tell the people where they can find you and what you got cooking up in the next couple of days.
Yeah, man. So you can find us for the podcast on Twitter, Worldwide Knicks at WW Knicks Podcast. And we just kind of tweet all of our just random musings and react and try and troll Mark Berman the whole time. It's all good. If you want to follow me individually, you can follow me at OZAHRAN319. A little bit of Nick stuff, but a little bit of other stuff too. We also have a written platform as well. It's called No Nylon. That's nonylon.substack.com. So we're trying to get a little bit more active there, but definitely check out the Twitter, check out the podcast, available on all platforms as well, like you guys are. So yeah, thank you for having us on, man.
Make sure to check those out, man. I'm telling you, Alex and Rafa will not disappoint, man. I love those guys. I can't wait to have them on the
Awesome.
show. Don Juan, well, before we get up out of here, man, what you gotta tell the people before we leave out of here?
Yeah, make sure to follow all our accounts in the bottom there. You see our handles, and those listening, make sure to follow NYK Fans Wildin'. We haven't been active, but we about to be back. You know, it's a new year. It's unfortunately the Knicks haven't got the memo yet. You know, but we'll be back. Trade deadline approaching soon, so we're gonna hit y'all with a bunch of coverage of that, and hopefully, you know, this road trip isn't as bad as we think it is, right, guys?
Hopefully,
Fingers
man.
crossed, man.
I hope. Yeah, man, as Don Juan mentioned, man, make sure to follow everybody what we see down there and make sure to subscribe on YouTube, Knicks Fans Wildin'. And as I say before we get up out every episode, it's a new year, 2022. But life is short. Make sure to live it to the fullest. Knicks are not making it easy on us, but uh, we got a lot to look for. The Knicks, despite it being dark and gloomy right now, I mean, hey, if we're bad this year and we get a lottery pick, it's not all bad. I mean, RJ Barrett, Omar mentioned it, took that year 3 step that we wanted to see. We have these guys, IQ, people love Obi, so Obi's still around. You know, we have a lot of asses, and we still have, I believe, 5 first rounders in the next 4 years. So things might be dark and gloomy right now, Knicks fan. But hold on, we gonna be good. Leon Rose and Cole will hold it down, man. And that's it. Time to wrap up. Knicks fans wild, and thank you for joining, man. We'll hit you on that.